Coming up on Let's Get to the Points.
When we flew the apartment on Etihad, that's why I was in Abu Dhabi. We flew it London to Abu Dhabi. How was your flight, Nicole?
I don't even know how to start. So I had prepped my family and said it was just okay. Now,
oh, poor kid.
And later.
So I am at the Park Hyatt Vienna right now. We're at the tail end of our 2.5-week winter break trip. Park Hyatt Vienna is a favorite among Hyatt globalists. Service has been great, but there have been a little things that I've been disappointed about. I'm giving them 2 more nights to figure it out.
To get the together.
Exactly.
Now, let's get to the points. From Passion for Points, it's Serena. From Travel Sergeant, it's Miguel. From Nicole's Travel Tips, it's Nicole. And from Seat to a Suite, it's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points audio video podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, and I am joined by my co-hosts who are the best experts you're going to find in everything points, miles, and travel. First up, from Passion for Points, it's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
From the Travel Sergeant, it's Miguel.
Hey, what's up? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
That's right. Happy New Year.
that's right.
And from Nicole's Travel Tips, it's Nicole.
Happy New Year. Hi, everyone.
Please help us out by clicking that subscribe button right now to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you watch or listen. Also, please give us a like and leave us a comment below and let us know what you think of our show. Now it's time to do it. Let's get to the points. Okay, we're back. Did you guys miss us?
I missed you guys.
I miss you guys.
It seems like forever.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been since last year.
I hope you guys out there have watched our special editions that were released over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we had a couple of good special editions while we were on our break. First up was Nicole, and where she went to New Zealand and she went on Delta. Then we had Miguel. Loved yours, Miguel. I loved your trek through Uganda. I actually kind of grew a little bit of fondness for you, seeing you do this by yourself, and admiration. Like, wow, that was like an incredible trip.
That was brave, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my solo travel trips, and probably the longest one that I've done solo. And even though I like traveling with family and friends and stuff, solo trips are just another style, and I really like it because I don't really have to wait on anybody or decide or compromise. Solo travel is pretty cool sometimes.
I'm going to add the solo travel to my list. I have 2 freeloading people that I drag along with me everywhere. And I think it's time to cut the cords, for sure.
They probably wouldn't mind, huh?
I think they would agree with you.
You know, Nicole, I loved your special edition episode about New Zealand. Everything was great. But the one thing I want to point out, and I don't know why I found this interesting, everything about your episode, I loved it. But I loved the tour of the lavatory on Delta, because that's probably one of the cleanest lavatories I have ever seen on a plane. And I was impressed that you shared that with us. I was like, wow.
I'm
debating,
do I show it or not? Because, I think people want to know. I want to know.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of planes recently, and these lavatories, they're not clean. And that was a really clean lavatory. So, yeah.
And it stayed that way for all 13 hours.
Well, I just want to say it feels like, when I was a kid, winter break was over, headed back to school, we're all here. I think we need to take roll call with Miss Nicole. Is that a thing? Do you guys still do that? Roll call?
I actually do. We take attendance, yes.
So please, Miss Nicole, can you take attendance for our show?
First up, Miguel. Miguel, are you here?
I'm physically here.
But mentally, who knows?
Mentally, I'm on my next trip. I'm planning my next trip.
Aren't we all, though, right? On one trip, planning a next. All right, we're going to mark you present. How about, let's see, Miss Serena, are you physically here?
I'm physically here, but in Vienna.
But in Vienna. Where in Vienna?
I'm at the Park Hyatt Vienna.
We're going to mark you as present, only because you're at the Park Hyatt.
Thank you.
And Mitch, how are we doing today?
I'm here.
I think you should be the most rested of all of us.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree. Because you were out too, right?
Yeah, we just got back. Literally this morning we got back from London.
Did you forget you met up with Serena?
Of course. I'm like a distant memory.
No. I was saving that. I was saving the big reveal. Yes, I actually met up with Serena. And, Serena was fun. Shirley was the life of the party.
Oh, that's my mother. Nicole and my mom have a lot in common.
Yes. Something to do with napkins. The lava lotion.
It has everything to do with taking stuff from places. That's my mom.
We like to collect souvenirs. That's how I'd like to put it.
They do.
So, Nicole, tell us about your trip. How did it go? Where did you go? Tell us everything we need to know because, we've been doing special episodes over the holidays. So fill us in. What's been going on?
All right. First, I want to pay homage to Serena, who tipped me onto the Etihad apartments way back in March. And so this entire trip was centered around this one flight. So we were able to book our 4 in the Etihad apartments from Abu Dhabi to London. And then I was like, Serena, okay, great. I booked this now. How do I get there? She's like, you'll figure that out later. Which we did. She said she was going to Dubai and I looked into it. We ended up leaving from Miami, had a layover in Philadelphia, went to Dubai for 4 days and then spent 4 days in Abu Dhabi before we took our flight on the Etihad apartment and ended up in London. So we spent 12 days and we had a blast. About 4 different hotels. How many flights total? I think it was 5 flights total or 4 flights total. And I got to meet Serena, her entire family. Her husband is adorable. And the only thing cuter than her husband, that doesn't sound right, but her husband is amazing. But her dad is so adorable. So adorable. So it was a pleasure meeting the whole family.
Oh, it was a pleasure meeting your family. I love getting to know your kids and your husband more. And James, your husband, he actually does smile in real life.
He does. It's just the pictures. It's just the pictures.
Yeah. We had a great time in Abu Dhabi and we stayed at the Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi. And that property, we had the best time in the club lounge there. And that is the best club lounge I have ever been in.
100%. Yes. We would make sure whatever we were doing, we would stop in time to make it back to the lounge.
That's right. There was no reason to go out and eat dinner. That was our dinner.
They had hot meals, sushis, salads, all different kind of Middle Eastern food. Oh, and they had a bar, an open bar with a bartender that served cocktails and mixed drinks. I think that was the first time I've seen that at a lounge. I want to take you back a little bit when Serena was telling me about Grand Hyatt. And I'm like, Serena, it's 18,000 points a night times 2 rooms. And I'm like, I think I'm going to stay at the Andaz. That's 8,000 points a night. So I booked it and I only booked 2 nights because I'm going to split it up, spend less points. Thank you, Serena, for nudging me, kind of pushing me along because those were the best points I've spent. I had a great time. The hotel was amazing. The staff was amazing. The food was amazing. I have 0 complaints. Highly, highly recommend the Grand Hyatt in Abu Dhabi.
That's kind of what Mitch said in last week's episode on his special edition at the Andaz Bali, how, it's not always about spending the least amount of points for your trip, but sometimes it's worth it to spend a few more points. And it sounds like that was the case with you in Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this whole trip has changed my mindset about how to spend points and miles. Like, you're going there for the experience, not necessarily to save $1 all the time, but you want to enjoy the time that you have there.
Right. So being there as globalists and getting free breakfast and free dinner in the club lounge every day, that really helped a lot. So it was worth every single point.
The location was also great. It was right across the street from the palace. And Serena, you were there for New Year's, so you got to see amazing fireworks.
Right. I had a view of the fireworks from our balcony. We were on the 35th floor, and we had a view of both the water area and also Emirates Palace. So they had fireworks off of Emirates Palace, and we had a great view of it. That was important to me because I have little kids, right? I have an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I wasn't sure if they'd be able to stay up, but I wanted to be able to see the fireworks from my room because, it's just much easier with kids to stay in rather than go out. And one of my kids actually ended up staying up late for it, and it was just so fun just watching it from the balcony. It's just so much more convenient.
How long was that fireworks show? I heard it was pretty long.
Oh, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. It was pretty good. At first I thought, I should have spent New Year's in Dubai because I thought it would be really cool to see the fireworks being thrown off the Burj Khalifa because that looks really nice. And so I regretted spending New Year's in Abu Dhabi. But after we were there and everything worked out, I was really happy that it worked out the way it did.
Having to see it from your balcony, the convenience of that, I think, is better than being downtown with the hustle and bustle and in Dubai.
Right. And then having to go back to your hotel room and get washed up, get into bed. Yeah. With kids, it's just so much easier to see it from your room.
We didn't even see the fireworks after we got to our hotel. So I don't know why, but in London, you have to pay to be in a certain place to see the fireworks. So it's very hard to see the fireworks for free in the public area. And by the time we got off the flight and it was raining, it was cold, Nyla ate her grapes under the table and then we went to bed.
That's okay. You probably turned on the TV.
That kind of sounds what Formula One did in Vegas, where they were trying to block all pretty much free shows and like you have to pay to be able to enjoy the show.
I mean, I live in Miami where you have to pay for almost everything, but you know, they put it in some of the parks and you can see it from the park, down the street from the park, from your house. So to be able to restrict people from seeing the fireworks, I mean, didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, so definitely go to Abu Dhabi if you want to see fireworks. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it was the best.
So I did want to mention about the Andaz. So it's in two different locations. So Andaz is a little further out, maybe closer to the airport than Grand Hyatt. And the Grand Hyatt is more centrally located. Just for people who are trying to decide whether to spend the points or not, if location is important to you, the Grand Hyatt is where you would like to stay.
So when I went to Abu Dhabi, we stayed at the Andaz again because it was fewer points. I was like, whatever, I just want to spend the least amount of points. So we stayed at the Andaz and we got a pretty good upgrade, and the breakfast was pretty good. So we actually went when, all right, Serena, cover your ears. So when we when we flew the apartment on Etihad, that's why I was in Abu Dhabi. We flew it London to Abu Dhabi, the opposite direction. But so how was your flight, Nicole?
It's like nails on a chalkboard for me when I hear that E word.
Not the F word for you, it's the E word, right?
Exactly. That's the new F word, let me tell you.
I don't even know how to start. Let me go to the day before.
Maybe you should tone it down.
Time me.
Play the whole thing for my sake.
Serena, you can go on a break. You can go to the let's get to the points break room. Go take a break, go get a soda.
So I had prepped my family. Even when we're going to like a priority pass lounge, I'm like, I want to spend maximum 2 hours in the lounge. And I'm like, listen, get it together. We're going to the E word first class lounge. I need to be there for like 4 hours. Now, our flight doesn't leave until the afternoon, but I'm like, we're getting up at 7 a.m. We get there, they're taking the bags in, and just the checking, the level of service first of all, before even checking, the door is black with like gold letters. That was the start for me. They took our half-broken suitcase, right? Our suitcase looks like it had been manhandled by spirit. And they checked it with such care. They offered us water, tea, whatever we wanted. And they're like, just have a seat there. We will check you in. And we were the only ones in the check-in area. They checked us in and the lady was ready to shoo us along. Not in a bad way, but she's like, all right, you guys are checked in. And I'm like, do you mind giving me a few minutes? Because then, I had to take the video. I had to get the flag. I had to take the picture, get everybody together. It was like a whole scene. In Jamaica, we have this thing. It's called never see, come see. It's like when you're new to something and you can tell that you're new and everybody knows that you're new. That was us. All right, after they check us in, you have your own private immigration section. And I don't know if you've seen my stories, but something always goes wrong with my husband. We all scan our passport and we're like, all right, we're going through. His beeps. And he has to go into the line to see the immigration officer, and she has to go through his stuff to clear him to go through. Finally, he made it through. And this section, there's nobody there. The immigration officers are all just sitting down, talking, chit-chatting because there's not a lot of people coming through. It takes about 10 minutes to go through, and then we end up at the lounge. Now I'm going to put the little video here of Nyla. So we eat breakfast and lunch at the lounge. And I asked her, Nyla, how was the food? She said it was good. Nyla, was the food first class good? She said it was just okay. Now.
Oh, poor kid.
Oh.
Don't waste your points on her.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give her this one. It was literally just okay.
Oh, you thought it was just okay too?
I did think it was just okay.
Oh, okay.
We were the only one in the first class lounge. So, there wasn't much socializing, but we headed to the business class lounge and there was a lot more people there. There was a bar and the food was kind of different over there. So I know I'm supposed to be like, oh my God, first class, it was great. It was great to be there. I feel like more exclusive. If you were doing some work on your laptop, this would be a great place to go. It was quiet. We're not the quiet kind of people, but we have the pictures to say that we went. I tried to get some footage of the private dining room, but they wouldn't let me in. The service again was great. Every time you went in and out of the bathroom, as soon as you left, there was an attendant right behind you cleaning up the bathroom and making perfect triangles. You know what I'm talking about? Those triangles on the toilet paper? We didn't go to sleep because I didn't want to miss a beat. And we ended up being late to get on the flight because we spent a little too much time having libations and talking with the bartender. But the great thing is we were able to board from the lounge.
How many other people were in the first class cabin with you?
There was a total of 8. It was full except
then.
for the residents. Yeah, no one was in the residence though. There was another, I would say either a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, because I saw lots of big cameras, lots of him taking shots too of the apartments there.
Big cameras. You're talking about like Mitch kind of cameras?
Like Mitch cameras.
Like how big?
Yes. Yeah, with like tripods and
Oh, wow.
the whole thing.
You didn't ask who they were?
I didn't. Oh,
I'm always curious.
You didn't say, hi, I'm Nicole from Nicole's Travel Tips, you know?
Exactly.
Can we do a co-host video?
no, I was worried about sticking my double-sided tape everywhere to get content for you.
Thank you, Nicole. Priorities.
One thing you don't even think about, I don't know if this happened to you, Miguel, but it's just like, it's never enough time. Like, I didn't go to sleep. I didn't order multiple things off the menu, like barely took my 5-minute shower, which I enjoyed, by the way. My son was sick and practically missed most of it. The flight attendants took great care of him. They brought him medicine, tea, water. They always checked on him.
I think it's interesting that the flight attendants knew your son was sick, because I would be telling my kids, pretend you're not sick, because I'd be afraid that they wouldn't let us on the plane because of COVID, you know? So I'd be telling my kids, you need to look well. Fake it.
And then once they close the plane door, then you can lay down. So I'm like, I'm not getting off this flight. But
Did you check out the onboard bar or lounge or whatever?
I did, and I almost forgot about it. So we did go over there, and I'm a little camera shy, and there were 2 other people in there, so I didn't want to take like a full span video, but I did ask the flight attendant, and they did take a picture of James and I in our cute little pajamas. It was cute.
So I completely forgot about it. Like I was just enjoying my flight the whole time, and like I didn't want to leave the apartment. So I forgot about it. It was until like 3 days after the flight, I'm like, oh, I forgot about the bar.
Well, maybe it's not a big deal, too, because nobody really talks about the bar, do they?
Yeah, I don't think it's as nice as Emirates bar on the A380 or whatever, but yeah, I would still like to have checked it out. So guess I'll have to fly it again.
I would say it's okay. It's cool. It's more like a check off the list. I wouldn't give up an hour or so in the apartment to go hang out at the bar.
I'd agree. You know, I've been on both, on Emirates and Etihad's. And I think the one on Etihad, I don't know about you, Miguel, it just seemed a little dark. And the one on Emirates is kind of brighter, a little more going on, a little more lights. But the Etihad one, it was kind of dark, I thought.
It's where the flight attendants are also making drinks for all the people on the plane and coffee. So it's not quiet. So there's a hustle and bustle going on back there too. So it's not as relaxing as a still picture would make it seem. One of the pep talks that I gave to my family was that you are going to take a shower, because I don't know when we're going to get back on a plane with a shower. And everyone went, and my husband was a stubborn one, but eventually he ended up going. And the pajamas are like, ooh, they're super soft. I took them home and I keep them. They give you this really nice bag as soon as you come in with the pajamas and the slippers. The amenity kit is in the vanity. I did ask them for an extra amenity kit. I said, I'm a teacher and I take these back and I give them to my students as prizes for, getting good grades. And the flight attendant, she goes, I don't usually do this, but my mom was a teacher and I truly appreciate what you're doing. And she gave me an extra one.
I know you're not going to give that away to one of your students.
I mean, I was, but what are you thinking? I mean, there's only so much you could do with these amenity kits. Then you start to become your mom's, right? Then you have like 5 of them on the shelf. And what are you doing with them? Let me tell you about the food. I did have caviar for the first time.
And then what'd you think?
If it's free, I'll eat it. It was okay. Salty. It was better than I thought. I think the caviar by itself is a little to be desired, but putting all the other toppings on it, made it kind of tasty.
Yeah, same. I think I've only eaten caviar in flights. I think there was just one time in Ukraine where I got like eggs Benedict and it had some caviar, but it was like $11 because it's like right by the source. But yeah, I've only eaten it in planes.
So I had it on Emirates first, and I didn't think it was salty at all. And I was surprised, actually. And I was wondering if it was the batch I got or if it was like with all the toppings, but it wasn't salty. So Nicole, what did you think about the food?
The food was good. So on our flight, one of the main courses was camel, and I decided, why not? I'm going to give it a shot. It reminded me of goat meat. It was kind of gamey. It was on a bed of rice. I had a few bites and I'm like, I don't have to finish it. You know, you grew up, your parents are like, well, if you order it, you're going to eat it. I'm like, not today. I'm in first class. I felt kind of bad and I asked the flight attendant, it's not my favorite. Is it possible for me to get the steak instead? She goes, sure, no problem. How would you like it done? Everybody else had chicken, you know, go figure. And I didn't hear any complaints from them. Nala had like 2 or 3 ice creams. My husband had, I don't know how many mojitos. Every time I went over to his apartment, he was taking pictures of something else. So I'm going to say he had a good time.
I'm so proud of you, Nicole, for getting the camel meat as your main entree. Yeah. That's impressive. I would have not chosen that.
I already paid for it. That's how I feel. So everyone wants to go back on a first class flight. So I told my husband, when I argue with you about using the right card, you're going to figure it out, right? You're going to open every card I tell you to open, right?
All right, Nicole, big question for you. You know, everyone watching, everyone listening, was it worth it? Would you recommend, you know, someone doing a redemption like this? Because I think that's what a lot of people want to know. Is it worth the first class? Is it worth the business class redemption? Should I do it? And what do you say to that? Because this was your first time, right?
I will say this was absolutely worth it. I would do it again. I would save my points to take this flight, even if I had to reposition to Dubai to take it again. In fact, when I got there, I called my mother and I was like, we are coming back here. We have to figure it out. We're going to do it again. And I think I have 2 more business class booked after this. Not to say that I'm leaving Spirit behind, but now when I go to search for a flight, I'm going to look at both options. Do I want to spend the extra on a 13-hour flight or do I want to go in coach? Before, I would not have considered it. Now it's definitely opened my eyes.
Yeah, we've talked on the show a lot about whether, you know, you want to use all your points for premium cabins or save your points and stretch them further by taking your family on economy all the way. And it sounds like it's kind of hard to go back to economy after you've experienced this.
It was hard coming home on that Virgin Atlantic flight yesterday.
And that was an economy?
That was an economy in 62K in the back.
All the way in the back.
All the way. 62 of 70, yes.
Wait, 62,000 points? Or you're talking about seat 62K?
So we're talking about row 62. Row 62.
Where's that?
At first I thought it was the number of points too.
Row 62 of 70. Yeah.
So Nicole was telling everyone how they're flying economy back home. And my mom was like, oh. And I'm like, so are we. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise.
We're going to be in row 42 of 45. And she's like, oh.
I need that dose of reality every so often.
Yes. You know, it keeps you humble. I think it's good for, you know, the soul.
We had a great time on this flight on the Etihad apartment, but I'm curious, what would you guys rather? Would you rather more trips in economy or fewer trips but in a premium seat, like a business class or first class? Let us know in the comments what you would prefer. Or travel, economy seats, or more premium seats with probably a little less time traveling. So in a previous episode, Serena, we talked about the fact that you were going to be on Etihad and they canceled your flight and you had to rebook on a different airline. How were your flights? And tell us what airlines you took.
So I am at the Park Hyatt Vienna right now. We're at the tail end of our 2.5-week winter break trip. It's been a long trip. And so we're going to be going home soon. But I also, like Nicole, booked this entire trip all around this Etihad booking. And I also had a booking, but it got canceled. And if you want to hear that story, we will link it here. To the story behind that. So I still ended up going on this trip. I just had to book replacement flights to replace my Etihad trip. So I did not take the E word at all. I refused to. So instead of Etihad, I decided to go with Emirates instead. So I'll recap the flights that we've taken. So from San Francisco, we decided to go to Morocco. So we took Air France in business class from San Francisco to Charles de Gaulle in Paris, and then on to Marrakesh in Morocco. We had a great time there. We stayed in a Riyadh, and my family hated it. It was the worst hotel experience of their lives, and they told me that they never want to do that again. And my 12-year-old said, I'm going to be honest. I hate it here. And she's usually very tolerant of things, but it was cold at night. I contacted the Riyadh ahead of time and I asked whether they had a heating system, and they said yes. Their heating system is a radiator. And so radiators don't do really well of heating up rooms, and the ceilings are really high. We were cold at night, and then one night the power went out, so we lost electricity. And so then we were really cold. And the towels in the bathroom are like cloth tablecloths, so they weren't plush. There was no conditioner. My 12-year-old complained about that. She would go around Marrakesh looking at all the females, wondering if their hair was okay because they didn't have conditioner. And so they told me, I can't wait to go to Hyatt. And I told them to suck it up. This is a cultural experience. But it's great the way I organized this trip, because we went from like the bottom of the bottom lowest, and it increasingly got more luxurious as we went on. It's great how it worked out, but also I think it's great for my children to experience it, for my parents to experience this, so that they can see that, you know, it's not always luxurious.
That Riyadh sounds like my grandma's house in Mexico. Power outages and cold.
Did you have a power outage?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you told me it was cold, I was like, yep, sounds like the Riyadh in Marrakesh. You know, there are more luxurious ones. I chose one that was middle of the road. It was about $100 per night per room, which is not bad. It had 5-star reviews. I wanted something that had really great recent reviews, and it does. Like, the service is excellent. The breakfast is great. It's just those little amenities that we're so accustomed to when we stay at luxurious hotels at all the properties that we stay at. It's those things that we don't get at places like this, and we miss. And we don't realize we don't have them anymore until we experience it.
You never know how important towels are until you don't have them, right?
Or being warm at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're so lucky. I mean, I don't know when's the last time I remember being cold at night. So I made my husband spoon with me. Anyway, and so we had a little loft area in our room, and my little one slept up there, and she had the best spot because all the heat rose. And so she had a really warm little area. I offered to switch with her one night, and she didn't want to, but she ended up doing it anyway. And so I got to sleep up there, and it was really nice for that one night. And then we moved on to the Hyatt Regency Casablanca, which was great for everyone after staying at the Riyadh, right? They loved it. Oh, my mom was like, oh my gosh, towels. They're like, my daughter's like, oh my God, conditioner. And everyone's, oh my God, we can turn on the heater. So from Casablanca to Dubai, we went on Emirates business class on an A380, and that was really fun because this is the plane that has the bar in the back. And if you're sitting in first class, you get the shower up front. We all stayed in business class. It was Christmas Day when we flew this, so I really wanted us to stay together. Most of the passengers on this flight were Arabic, and I only knew that because most people were speaking Arabic. So I think we were the only ones celebrating Christmas, but the bar was hopping in the back. It was so fun. If I have any tips to give for a flight like this, I would say when you pick your seats in business class, don't sit in the back section near the bar because it gets really loud. And I don't know if it's like that with a US route, but with this particular route, it was so busy and people were loud. My daughter even said, wow, I feel sorry for those people sitting in the back section because I don't know how they could have slept. So we were in the more forward business class section, and it was nice and quiet there. But we would go to the bar, and it was really fun taking our photos there. We had a great time. My whole family loved it, and everyone loved their seat in Emirates business as well.
So you were the only one celebrating Christmas, and you sent us a picture of your dad wearing his awesome Christmas suit. Like, we need to show people his suit.
Yeah, my dad totally dressed up for the occasion. He had this full-on Christmas outfit, and he was very popular in the bar area. And we would take our photos, and then strangers would want to take photos with my dad behind the bar,
That's so
which
cool.
I thought was really funny. I think, it was just new to them to see this Chinese guy dressed up so crazily for Christmas.
I told you her dad was super adorable.
And my dad loves attention. He just loves it. So he played along and he really enjoyed it as well.
So Serena, was this flight one of your original flights or did you make a change for this flight?
Oh, that was an original flight. Yes. So this was the way that I was going to get to the UAE. So this was originally planned.
How many points was it from Morocco to Dubai?
So from Morocco to Dubai on this Emirates flight in business class, it's about 74,000 miles. I used Air Canada miles to book 3 of these tickets. And then because Air Canada only had 3 seats available, I had to get the other 3 tickets on Emirates' website. If you use Emirates Skywards miles to book this flight, it will cost more miles, 92,000 miles, and the taxes are going to be a lot. So it was about over $400 in taxes per ticket. But this was the only way where I could get all 6 of us in business class for this particular flight. And for me, for the 6 of us in business class on Christmas Day, it was totally worth it.
I was about to say it's hard enough to find 2 or 3 seats, but to be able to find 6 seats, that's a win.
And then my mom even said on this flight, "Wow, Serena, this is really nice. Thank you so much."
Oh,
Yeah. But she doesn't know what she missed with Etihad.
You're gonna tell her now.
Okay, so after this flight, we got into Dubai. We stayed at the Park Hyatt Dubai. We saw Nicole and her family at Atlantis, at the largest water park in the world. We didn't hang out too much during this time, but my kids loved Atlantis. It was really fun.
Oh, even the big kids loved it too. They had me waiting in lines for like an hour. We went on the big slides, the little slides. I'm slitted out. I don't know if that's even a word, but I was exhausted.
So how do you access Atlantis if you're not staying there in Dubai?
So there's no Comfort Inn across the street at Atlantis in Dubai, unfortunately. That's the hack for Atlantis in the Bahamas. But fortunately, Atlantis in Dubai is so much cheaper than a day pass to Atlantis in Bahamas. So in the Bahamas, an adult pass is close to $200 per person, and child tickets aren't much cheaper. But in Dubai, you can get tickets for, I don't know, it was like $80, $80 to $90, and you can get it also through Viator or TripAdvisor.
Yeah, and I booked it through Rakuten, so I was able to earn some American Express points on that purchase too. So that was good.
And I booked mine when there was a deal with TripAdvisor for 20% off.
Yeah, I had originally booked it through the American Airlines portal and they were offering 7 points per dollar. But then later on it came up and it was 12 points per dollar on Rakuten. So I canceled there and then rebooked it through Rakuten.
So after Dubai, we went to Abu Dhabi and spent New Year's there. And then we flew from Dubai to Istanbul. And this was a special flight because this was kind of like a date night flight for me and my husband. The 2 of us, we were in first class, and then my parents babysat the kids in business class. So yeah, this was our little date in the sky, but it never turns out that way. So before we were heading to the lounge, my 8-year-old started crying because I guess she's attached to me, but I think she was like scamming me or scamming the entire system because she was able to come into the first class lounge with us. And so she's sitting in the first class lounge with us, eating her Wagyu beef while my parents and my older daughter are in business class lounge. So in Dubai, I think it's also great that you can board the plane from the lounge, which makes it very convenient. She went back to her business class seat and I went to my first class seat, and my husband and I had a lot of fun. But then my daughter still came up to visit us every so often too.
And so which one was it? Was it the A380 or was it their 777?
So this is a 777. And the business class seats are not lie flat. They are angled. And so my kids actually said to me, my seat doesn't go flat. It's a little up.
Were they reminiscing about the Riyadh?
Oh, wow.
So they noticed.
And how long is this flight, Serena?
It's only a 5-hour flight, 5.5 hours. And so we got into Istanbul and we stayed at the Park Hyatt Istanbul for 2 nights. And that Park Hyatt is beautiful and their customer service is fantastic. They had this whole setup with balloons and a cake for my dad. This trip was all about celebrating my dad's 75th birthday. And so they had balloons set up for him. And then in our room, I was amazed. They had the 2 rollaways for my girls set up with Minnie Mouse bedding and a Park Hyatt Istanbul teddy bear for each of them.
Wow.
So I was just amazed by that, and they were thrilled. And out of all the hotels that we've stayed in on this trip, the beds and the rollaways at the Park Hyatt Istanbul are the most comfortable.
They must have cheated and watched your Bora Bora episode of what they did for you there at the St. Regis.
Well, honestly, when I go to these hotels, I don't tell them that I'm on a YouTube show or, I have a podcast. I stay very humble when I'm traveling. I also like to experience what the average person would experience, the average globalist.
Why? No. Give me everything. Now I'm going to go and ask for a teddy bear.
Yeah, my mom wanted a teddy bear too. My mom wanted a teddy bear. And so my oldest, she goes, okay, you can have it. You can have mine. But my mom wants one because it says Park Hyatt Istanbul on it. Oh, and my favorite part about Park Hyatt Istanbul is the radiant flooring in the bathrooms. And so I love heated floors in bathrooms. The last time I had that was at Park Hyatt Kyoto in their suite there. And so I just love waking up and going to the bathroom and it's warm.
So earlier we were talking and you were saying how the Park Hyatt Istanbul's won all these awards, these accolades, and you've done quite a few Park Hyatts yourselves there, Serena. So how do you think that measures up to that? Do you think the Park Hyatt Istanbul is like it when it comes to Park Hyatts?
So Park Hyatt Istanbul, they won #1 in customer service for 2023 out of all the Park Hyatts in Europe and the Middle East. So Park Hyatt Istanbul has been battling with Park Hyatt Milan for this #1 spot in customer service, and they finally won in 2023. And I think that is so well deserved. I completely saw that on every level. So I think they do win in service. Absolutely. I think their rooms are a little bit small, but what's special about their rooms is they also come with a steam room. So they upgraded my parents to a deluxe king room that has a shower and a separate steam room. And that's great because my dad loves steam rooms. So I really wanted him to experience that. In our suite, we had a shower and a steam room in one. That's very unique to Park Hyatt Istanbul. I don't know if other hotels have that in the portfolio, but this is very unique, I think. But if you were to ask me what my favorite Park Hyatt is right now, I'm still struggling, and I'm at Park Hyatt Vienna right now, and I'm still trying to assess the situation here and what I think about it. So I'm not ready to make a decision about which Park Hyatt is my favorite. So last year, Park Hyatt Kyoto was my favorite. And I'm not sure if one of these tops that yet. We'll have to see. I'm still thinking about it. It's hard. Park Hyatt Dubai, they gave every single one of us a Park Hyatt Dubai hat. And so when we got to Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi, my dad asked, oh, am I going to get a hat here?
I would ask the same thing.
I'm like, no, that's special.
I love seeing your adventures at the Park Hyatt.
I did some research beforehand, and I did consider the Grand Hyatt Istanbul. A lot of people have a lot of nice things to say about that property as well, especially because they have a club lounge. So you might like that.
Yes.
Okay, so after Istanbul, we took a flight in economy on Turkish Airlines from Istanbul to Vienna. You can book this with Air Canada miles. They didn't have this available when I was booking it, so I had to pay cash for it. This was our first economy flight on this trip, and so I had to tell everybody, we're sitting in the back this time. The plane was half empty, and so we got to spread out, and so it was nice.
It's not that long of a flight, is it?
It's not. It's 2.5 hours, yeah.
Did you check out the lounge in Istanbul?
Oh, we checked out the IGA Lounge, which is a priority pass lounge, and it is a really nice lounge. There's a pool table. You can get a massage. They have a kids' playroom. The food is really good. They have showers, so it is a really nice priority pass option. So after Vienna, and now we're at the Park Hyatt Vienna, and we are here for 4 nights. Park Hyatt Vienna is a favorite among Hyatt globalists. Everybody raves about it. It's like the darling property in the Hyatt portfolio. So I was really excited to come here. Service has been great, but there have been a little things that I've been disappointed about. For example, today I came back to my room at 4:30 and housekeeping was not done yet. I had asked several times and finally they came and they weren't done until 5:30. So when I like to come back to my room at the end of the day, I like to come back to, my bed made, towels refreshed. That was a little disappointing. I'm giving them 2 more nights to figure it out.
To get together.
Exactly.
And that's why I love having these conversations with you guys, because sometimes I feel people edit out the truth about certain properties. So I heard great things about the breakfast at Anders Liverpool. Someone told me, go to Rake's Cafe and you have to have the waffles. These are the best waffles. No, they were not. They were not even good waffles. These waffles that I had, I want to know what you guys think. So how do you think waffles should be? Do you think they should be crunchy or they should be fluffy? Let us know in the comments how you prefer your waffles. The waffles that I had here at this cafe, I would rather eat the waffles from the cafeteria at my school.
Oh, wow. That's saying a lot.
Wow.
I think with everything, you have to take it with a grain of salt, people's recommendation. But that's why the 4 of us are here and we can tell our different experiences. And what something I might like might be something somebody else does not like. So
Yeah, that's so true. We're all going to experience different things. So I also love how we each have our own opinions about things as well.
Yeah, I stayed at that Andaz, Nicole, and I can't remember. I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast, so it wasn't memorable at all. I'd have to look through my pictures and be like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what I had. But, actually, I was a little bit more disappointed with the breakfast at the Great Scotland Yard. We stayed at that one when I went with my daughter, and that breakfast there sucked. I mean, the selection is so limited. I mean, I would rather have, continental breakfast buffet, at any Hyatt Regency than the Great Scotland Yard. But, yeah, I don't remember what I had for breakfast there, but I do remember what Mitch had for breakfast at the Andaz Bali, and
yes.
For
and
sure.
it made me,
I do too.
just based off of the breakfast alone, made me want to go to Bali. But so if you didn't catch that in last week's episode, Mitch did a special edition about his trip to Bali, and the breakfast there looks amazing.
Did you like that? Did you really mean that? I mean, that breakfast?
Yeah, those pancakes look really good. They looked fluffy, airy, and
The dumplings.
The dumplings, before I'd never had dumplings for breakfast before until I went to the Maldives and they had that there at the W. And I'm like, I want dumplings for breakfast. So yeah, looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. The one thing I will say about that is, I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of gotten over the traditional American breakfast buffet stuff. So I love it, when we go to Asia and they have dumplings and stuff like that, because I love it, right? And I don't really like that, traditional omelet and eggs. I love these stuff that's, wherever you're staying. And those dumplings, they were really good. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. So at the Park Hyatt Istanbul, they had someone there making traditional gozelme. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but basically it's like their version of a quesadilla, and you can choose what fillings to put in there, and she was making it there fresh in front of you, and that was part of the breakfast. And I love touches like that. One more thing I want to add about Park Hyatt Vienna. I know I kind of slammed them a little bit, but let me just tell you one great thing about this property, okay? The water. This is the best bottled water I've ever had in my life, okay? It comes in a glass bottle. It's called Wasslauer, if I'm saying it right. It is so good. My first sip of this water, and I was like, oh my God, what is this stuff made of? It's so smooth going down your throat. I love this water. Anyway, if you want to come here just for the water, that's okay too.
And that's complimentary?
Yeah. I have 10 of these in my room right now. I ask for more and more every day. Yeah, I wish I could bring them home. It's really good.
All right, Serena, that water, that looks incredible. Will you please bring me a bottle of that? I would
Sure,
really
no
appreciate
problem.
it. The only other water that I've ever gone goo goo gaga over is the Jeju from Korean Air. So I want to try a bottle of this water.
I want to try some of that Jeju.
Yeah. I think I got a couple bottles somewhere. I'll
Okay,
trade
I
you.
guess yeah, we'll do it.
All right. So, Serena and Nicole, big question. Are you ladies going to do a special edition episode for us of your trips? And if you are, what are you going to do?
Well, we're definitely going to do a combo Grand Hyatt Abu Dhabi special edition.
And I have to bring you all the gory details about Etihad's first class. Serena, I still need you to watch this, okay?
I'll watch it because, the views will help. I'll watch it for the algo.
Thank you.
If we see one thumbs down on that video, we know who it was.
It's still engagement.
That's right.
This is true, yeah.
Okay, well, we are looking very forward to those. I can't wait to see what you guys put together, and it's going to be really nice, I promise. All right, it's now time to move on to our weekly recap. Okay, it's now time for our weekly recap. We share our tips and insider lessons with you from the stuff that we've recently booked. So we're going to start with Miguel, and it's class time. You've got a question for us, so go for it, please.
So a couple weeks ago, there was a sale with JetBlue flying from LAX to the Bahamas, and it was about $500 each way in their business class, what they call Mint. The interesting thing is that, their points are kind of have a fixed value, kind of like Southwest, where, you get a good deal only if there's a sale because it's cheaper. And there was a transfer bonus from Chase, which made it, a good time to use JetBlue points for this. So anyways, I booked JetBlue Mint from LAX to the Bahamas for my wife and I. Now, what I want help with is what to book for the hotel. So I have two options. I could either fly to Atlantic City and do the casino status match that Nicole did recently, so I can get that complimentary stay at Atlantis in the Bahamas. And by complimentary, I mean you still pay $75 a night or so. Or go stay at the Grand Hyatt Baha, which Serena, I think, has stayed in, right? But for that one, I'd have to pay, I think, like 25,000 points a night. So I'm going for 3 nights. So I just don't know if I want to pay the least amount and pay just $75, or should I just splurge on this nice casino resort stay there instead?
So you're calling it a nice casino resort, but I'm not sure if your room is going to be as nice as Grand Hyatt Baha.
So that's what I was thinking. The Atlantis Hotel has been around for a while. Like, I remember taking my kids there when they were almost babies, and I'm not sure if they renovated it since. And the Grand Hyatt is fairly new. So for Liz, I'm going to vote Grand Hyatt, only for Liz.
So I'm going to follow up with this as well, Miguel. So first off, I owe a huge thank you to you for sending this little deal to our group, because I've got almost the same trip that you've got booked, but I found the dates on JetBlue and I was able to get all 4 of us coming back in JetBlue in Mint, and I booked it for all of us. Same deal that you got with the Chase transfer bonus and all of that. So first off, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Now, to get back to your question, I was kind of doing the same research as well. And we've already had the Grand Hyatt Baha booked. And, I was kind of adding it all up, and I've been doing like a lot of research on the Bahamas. And, Serena, your highlight that you have on your Instagram page, really super helpful. Anyone going to the Bahamas, you need to watch this. So I kind of landed on the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar just for the simple fact that I saw how expensive a lot of things are in the Bahamas. And if you kind of do this status match and everything, you're going to have to pay resort fees, right? With the Atlantis and everything, regardless. So if you do this award booking with the Baha Grand Hyatt, that's where I'm going to go, because it's going to save a lot on the fees. You're going to get the breakfast, you're going to get the food. That's kind of where I landed. So that's what I would kind of do. I don't know.
Now, I want to add, I think you should still do the status match because there's other benefits. You can get a free cruise out of it when you match to Ocean, and you can get 2 nights at Resort Worlds. But I would save the Atlantis for something else. You might not even use the Atlantis one, but the other benefits you probably will get some use out of.
I actually think you're going to go to Atlantis and wish you brought your kids. So I actually think you're going to go back with your children at some point. But if you want to compare rooms, I think you should look at the room that you might get with Atlantis. From what I hear, the rooms are very outdated there. You might be able to pay more for a more updated room. And I think I forgot what the tower is called, but there's one tower. Oh, wait, Atlantis you can use Marriott points for too. But there's one tower called the Cove, and I think that one has the really nice rooms in it.
Yeah. That's a newer one.
Did you say Marriott?
I did.
It's funny that Serena mentioned that she thinks that you're going to go back to the Atlantis. And I think so too, because you're a guy that likes the challenge. You don't want to leave any stone unturned. So you're like, I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that. You want to maximize it. You have to do what makes you happy too, Miguel.
So here's a question. What is your goal with this trip? Is it more beachy, relaxing, or is it more gambling? What do you and Liz like to do?
Yeah, no gambling. I mean, I might do a little bit of gambling, but I don't really care much for that. So I think it'd be more just like a relaxing weekend. It's just us, our weekend without the kids. Yeah, just hang out by the pool or the beach and have some drinks, I guess.
Yeah, my choice would be Grand Hyatt too. And as a globalist, you will also get 2 free drink tickets per day. So that will help too.
I'm not a globalist anymore.
but you will be booking as if you were one. You'll be booking guest of honor, right?
Yeah, I guess I would do a guest of honor. So hopefully I'd get those drink tickets too. But yeah, I guess, I mean, if we're flying there and, JetBlue Mint for 3 days, I guess it'd be worth it to just splurge and have a nice resort as well.
Yeah, do it for Liz.
So maybe that's the question. What's Liz's speed? She's your wife. Like, what is she like? What really does she enjoy when you guys go on these trips?
She enjoys packing before. So that's organizing, packing cubes.
Hang up on him. Hang up the phone on him.
Oh, good thing she doesn't watch our show.
But when she lays out her packing cubes, she'd want to do it in a more modern hotel, in a drawer that doesn't smell like mold. Give her the Grand Hyatt.
So for all you watching or listening, let us know in the comments what you would do. Would you rather do a $75 per night Atlantis stay for 3 nights or 25,000 Hyatt points for the Grand Hyatt Baha? Because up to this point, I'm still undecided, though I'm leaning towards the Baha. But I need those Hyatt points for a Japan trip.
Well, this is why, Miguel, you need to open up more ink cards because that offer is ending soon.
That's right. This is a red alert, right? This is a red alert for everyone watching or listening. This is what you need to do right now.
Okay, so the Chase Ink cards right now have an all-time high offer of 90,000 points. And these cards have no annual fee. And these are the most valuable points because Chase can be transferred to many partners, including Hyatt. So Miguel needs to open these cards so that he can book his Hyatt stays for Japan and for Grand Hyatt Baha. And I know that I've used a lot of Hyatt points during this trip that I am on right now. And so I need to replenish my Hyatt points by opening more ink cards for both me, my husband, and my mom and my dad.
These ink cards have been a lifesaver. This is the way we were able to get most of our hotel stays for this trip also.
I've heard some people have gotten approved even being over 524. I don't know. Maybe I'll just try. Like maybe I think Chase doesn't like me, but maybe they'll give me another ink card. I don't know. And that would completely pay for my Bahamas hotel. So, and some.
And leave some over. Yeah. So if you need to replenish some of your Chase Hyatt points, these offers ending soon. Definitely check out the link in the description if this card's right for you.
Ending soon, I think it's like ending like right now. So, I think you need to, if you're going to get one of these cards, like do it, because when's the last time this offer rolls around? These are very infrequent, right?
So just wanted to make sure that people understand that you can have more than one of the same type of ink cards. So you can have more than one of each of these cards. I have 2 ink cash cards and 2 unlimited cards. So, and you don't have to be a partnership or a corporation to open these cards. You could be a sole proprietor. For example, I tutor kids after school, and that's what I use my business to open the business cards.
Sounds like I need to start a new business.
Maybe Liz needs to have a business too.
Oh, she has a few. She's a photographer,
professional packer,
organizational expert.
She doesn't know this, but she has multiple businesses too.
And this is how you manage a P2. Yes. So you can find the links to these ink cards in our show notes and on our website.
Okay, Miguel, so that sounds like an incredible trip that you've already got booked. Once again, thank you for that tip on JetBlue, because I can't fly coach, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. So that's a great question. What other trips do you guys have booked this year that you're looking forward to?
Well, aside from the Bahamas, the only thing I have booked is our trip to Japan. We're going to Japan in March. I've talked about that in a few episodes, but I don't have anything else booked. But that doesn't mean I won't fly to the other side of the world next week if a good deal.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. for sure.
What do y'all have booked?
So I know I just got back, but I think this year I'm going to live like Serena. So I'm going to come from one fabulous trip to another, and we're going to go skiing on Friday. I mean,
So great.
from sandboarding in the desert, to skiing in the Rockies. Why not? Have points, we'll travel. How about you, Serena?
I'm excited to fly Starlux. I'll be doing that this spring, so I'm excited for that. And also later this year, I'm excited for Waldorf Astoria, Seychelles. I'm excited for Oman. There's an Alila there that I'm excited to stay at. So that's later in the year. So lots to look forward to. How about Mitch?
Yeah, so I'm doing something that's completely non-related to points and miles. We have booked a cruise. And, a couple episodes ago, I'm going to talk about this later, maybe next week. But Serena, you've offered this as a suggestion. We're going to do this for my mother-in-law. But I don't know if you guys have heard of this cruise line. It's called Explora. It's like this new high-end cruise where like everything's included, the tips, the dinners, the booze, it's all there, right? And like each room is like a suite on this ship. So we've got that booked and I'm kind of excited about that. So we'll talk about
Of course, it's high end, so it's got Mitch written all over it.
Hey,
All
I'm not doing no. That's right. No fun ship carnival for me with Kathy Lee. That's not going to happen. So,
So with everyone having all these travel plans booked for the year, I'm sure you guys want to stay tuned to all our adventures. Make sure to turn on your notifications so that when we post these videos, you'll be the first one to check them out.
okay, our first official show of the new year. It's almost over, but before we go, we love getting questions from you on our social media channels. So if you're watching us on YouTube or Spotify, look for the questions on your screen as we share our best short, quick responses. All right, gang, here we go. Wonder Ria asks, what is the next credit card that you guys are applying for? Miguel.
Well, before it ends, I'm probably going to apply for that ink. If I don't get approved, my player 2, 3, or 4 might have to apply for it, but that's probably next before it ends. What about you, Nicole?
My husband just got approved for his first American Express, so we're going to follow the ladder and he's going to get the Amex Gold. How about you, Serena?
So same with the ink cards for me. I'm going to replenish some Hyatt points, as I mentioned earlier, and open some ink cards before the high 90K offer ends. How about you, Mitch?
Yeah, just like you guys, I'm going to apply for one of those Chase inks, I'm hopping on that. I have no insight on this at all, but I'm really hoping maybe Citi's going to drop one of those big signups for the Premier cards coming up. I don't know. That's what I'm waiting for, but other than that, nothing's really on my radar right now. So next question comes from Misty Mulan on Instagram, and she asks, which would you choose? Capital One Venture X or American Express Gold? Miguel?
I would say Ventrex. If I could only pick one card, I'd go with the Ventrex because you get that lounge access aside from the 2X on everything. What about you, Nicole?
Yes, I would go with the Venture X also. The lounge access 2X, and it transfers to Turkish, which has a great deal for business class flights. How about you, Serena?
I would do both because, why not? But I think what you pick will depend on your spending pattern. If you are spending a lot at restaurants and groceries, then the Gold makes sense for you. But if you value lounge access, then the Capital One Venture X is the card to get. How about you, Mitch?
Team Serena for the win. I'm right there with you. I'm picking both of those cards. It helps me with my personal goal of getting a return of 2 of something back, the 2 cents, 2 points, 2 miles on every dollar that goes out of my pocket. So I'm picking them both. All right. Final question tonight comes from Ashley, and they ask, with Serena's recent Bora Bora video, which I loved, you make me want to swap my Maldives trip. Which do you guys think is better, Maldives or Bora Bora? Miguel?
I would say whatever you find availability for with the hotels, because I know in Bora Bora it's a lot more competitive. So if you could find something for Bora Bora for the dates that work for you, I'd go with that. If not, then I would go with Maldives because there's a lot more options there. What about you, Nicole?
What people forget about the Maldives is that you have to get private transfer from the mainland to the island that you're going to. So just make sure you count that into your budget. I think going to Bora Bora might be a little cheaper. And isn't Delta now flying to Bora Bora?
Mm-hmm.
So look out for that. It's coming out soon, so you might be able to find a great flight deal.
Is that from LA?
That is from LA, yeah.
Okay, so I've been to both. This is a tough question, and this question can lead to a huge debate. But I think Bora Bora wins with scenery, with Mount Otemanu in the background. It has great topography, and you don't get that at all in the Maldives. But in the Maldives, what you get is really good service. So if you value service, I would go to the Maldives. And so that would be my pick, because service is number one for me. How about you, Mitch?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Serena, because funny enough, this question came up, because Porat went to Bora Bora recently without me a couple weeks ago. Had a great time. He and we had a really long discussion, at our house here, like which is better. He's actually convinced the Maldives is what he would choose over the two. He said, he thought it was a little more exclusive, kind of like what you were alluding to, Serena, that, you can get all that extra stuff at those resorts, especially if like you do the Waldorf or the Marriott properties. And, I asked him point blank, what would you choose? You've done both. And he, without missing a beat, he's like, oh, the Maldives. And then he said to me, when are we going back?
Oh,
and yeah, I told him, when are you going to get some more Hilton credit cards? That's what I told him. So that was my response to that. So yeah, I think we would probably pick the Maldives again. So that's just us. All right.
That's great to know.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your questions. Please keep them coming. We love hearing them here and chatting with you.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates when we release a new episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and leave us a comment below.
Also, feel free to subscribe to us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and send us a DM if you have any thoughts or ideas on our show.
And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, we'd love it if you wrote us a 5-star review for us there.
All right, that's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts, Serena from Passion for Points.
Bye, everyone.
Miguel from Travel Sergeant.
Later.
Nicole from Nicole's Travel Tips.
See you guys next week.
And I'm Mitch Shannon from C2A Suite. You can find out more about us at our website, letsgettothepoints.com. And we'll see you all here next Friday. Thanks for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.